Welcome to the Ladies Kickin Ass Podcast, where we raise our voices and honor the badass achievements of women in the service industry. Get ready for empowering conversations, inspiring stories, and a whole lot of ass-kicking energy. Join us as we redefine what it means to be bold, fearless, and unapologetically YOU, babe. This is your platform, your community, and your source of inspiration. So buckle up, get ready to rock and roll, and let's show this world just how much we can accomplish. Welcome to the Ladies Kickin Ass Podcast. Hi, ladies. Welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited to be able to introduce my guest today. Jackie Benjamin is with us today, and she's the founder and CEO of WeAssist. And that is a digital marketing company that works with home service businesses. Yay! This is something that everyone is always asking questions about. And even if you're not in home services, but in a different kinds of service-based business, today's episode is going to be awesome because I've already had hours-long conversation with Jackie, and we talked about so many amazing things, not only building teams of women, supporting women in what they want to do with building their goals, dreams, and businesses, but how do we help support those home service companies that tend to be a little scared, leery, or just completely, I don't know what the hell I'm doing as far as marketing and sales go. Many times in home service industries, they're really good at their trade, and then they are not so good at marketing. So then they're like, I would like to do a whole bunch of work, but I don't have a lot of work coming in. So these little episodes like this are excellent to listen to if you find yourself in a place of, hey, I'm kind of stuck. I don't know what to do. Or even if you're kicking ass at social media, you can definitely learn some things from Jackie today that you can start incorporating into your social media game plan. Because I know, stay through the end, Jackie's got some really awesome bonuses that she's going to share with us as well. And a really cool webinar that can even help you understand how to better use your social media to build relationships. So Jackie, thank you so much for being on the podcast with us today. Why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of your backstory? Tell us who you are outside of your business and why you love to do what you do.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. I've so enjoyed our conversations outside of this. So I'm excited to be here today and talk a little bit more about that, but then also social media, as you mentioned, that's so important now for any kind of business, but specifically home services. So I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a mom of two college-age kids who go to the University of Tennessee. I started this business a little over 4 years ago, and I was not going to be an entrepreneur. I was very happy at the company that I was in and had planned to retire there. It was an amazing business, and they were very purpose-driven. They were great to their people. They still are amazing, great to their people. I was on the executive team. I started with them. They were a startup, so kind of really learned how to grow a business there. And I was perfectly happy there, never going to leave. And then in 2018, I lost both my parents within 4 months of each other. And then I got really sick at the end of the year. And when that happens, you kind of, start looking back at your life and your year and what's going on. And I took some time off of work towards the end of the year and had every intention going back in January and just picking up where I left off. And then right before I went back, I woke up out of a sound sleep with two thoughts: start a business and help women. And my third thought was, no way. And so I went back to work and met with my boss, the CEO of the company, and he said, you probably haven't thought about your goals this year, but if you have, what are some things that you'd like to accomplish? I spilled it. I couldn't get this thought off my heart. So I just spilled it. And he's he's an amazing person. He really helped me spend the next 6 months trying to figure out what this looked like. And, how could I start my own business? What does it mean to help women in doing that? So in September of that year of 2019, I launched WeAssist with the purpose of providing jobs for women so they can be empowered to change their lives. So that is my mission. That's my why I do what I do. So trying to always keep that in the forefront of, yes, we're doing social media management. Yes, we're providing roles for people and all that. That's really the main goal, is to provide as many jobs as I can for women who might need, who need some, a job regardless of whatever their situation is. So when I started, we were doing all kinds of things, social media and a lot of other things. And then it got to the point, and it was just me started by myself doing all the things. And then we got to the point where we really were leaning into social media a lot more heavily. And then COVID hit, and businesses we had worked with, clients we had worked with who had been totally ignoring their social media accounts started coming to us. Can you please help us with social media? We can't get indoors. We can't get to see people. All we have right now is digital. So we started really leaning into that even more, and helping people with their social media. And it got to the point that's all we were doing. And then really looking at some of our clients and who we were working with, I really thought this home service space is a place where we can really help people and be effective, and a place where they don't have time to do it. They, as you mentioned, they're really good at what they do, but they don't always have the marketing help that they need. So really niched into that, because I thought that's a place we could really help businesses grow. Here we are today, and have a number of women on my team who are fantastic at that and what they do. So, and planning on hiring more going into next year and beyond.
That is so awesome. How many women do you have on your team?
I have 3 women right now on my team, and looking for a 4th one. So we had somebody just leave us in September. So looking for a 4th one. And then my plans for next year will be to bring on 3 to 4 more, throughout the year.
Excellent. So at WeAssist, are you just focusing just on social media management for home service companies now, or are there other facets of marketing that you guys are working with?
For the most part, we will do some blogs so we have some partners that we work with. If somebody needs SEO or website development, we do have partners that we work with that we can kind of manage the project and work with them, because, working with the keywords and all that kind of stuff, making sure that their social media, their websites are, working together. And then, as I mentioned, we'll do some blogs, but we primarily are focused on the social media management.
Excellent. So let's take a couple of different scenarios, if you're cool with this, of different kinds of home service industries, because I hear so often, and I can tell you from the numbers on this podcast, the top 2 things people are most interested in is social media and financials. So accounting, finances, anything like that. Social media, I think, for home service companies is so incredibly important that we keep talking about it, because there are so many different things they could do with social media that I think sometimes they get a little bit caught up in, like, I feel like I've already talked about this before. I've already posted this before. I have let's say a pest control company. I've already talked about how to get rid of termites, how to get rid of cockroaches, how to get rid of spiders. Like, what else do I talk about? So tell me a little bit about how you put a plan together for them. I know you have a content calendar. How do you put it together for them? What kind of suggestions do you give to them about what they should be posting and what that does for their business?
Yeah, that's a great question, because, we like to meet with our clients once a month, because there are things going on in their business seasonally, right, that we might want to talk about or promote, or they might have promotions that are coming up that we want to make sure that we get into social media. But what we really do is come with those suggestions and then ask the questions of them. So not expecting them to come up with that, because you're right. They think, like, I've already talked about this, or, everybody knows about HVAC. Everybody knows in the winter you need to get your heater, your furnace maintenance, But the reality is you could be talking about those things multiple times a week or month, depending on how often you're posting, because, not everybody is seeing every single thing that gets out there, and not everybody is remembering every single thing that you posted. So we come at them with, every month there's probably a couple of things we want to make sure we're doing in your business. Most of our home services are hiring at any given time. So we're hiring posts, and talking about the business, and there's some fun things that they're doing, talking about that. People love to see, the audience loves meet the team, meet the owners. We're a family owned business, anything that's like that. So if we can incorporate that into their months and or get them to even do a little employee video, even better, which people love things like that. So we do make suggestions of, maybe these are some videos if you have an office manager, or if you have somebody that's really good with social media that can just even take some little videos for us, we can turn into reels. But then we'll also come at them with, again, specials that they're running, tips and tricks. So it doesn't always have to be a sale. in the email or go to our website or some kind of call to action that is pointing somebody, call us, go here, schedule an appointment. We do those probably 60 to 70% of the time, but sometimes we're just giving helpful information. Like winter is coming in the area that I'm in. We need to start thinking about winterizing our sprinkler systems, our pipes, doing winterizing our homes. So talking about that as a plumbing company, an HVAC company, landscaping company, there's so many things that you could talk about that would be helpful information. So part of it is just educating people, using the platform to educate people as one of these businesses. So many different topics around that, no matter what your home service business is, that you could be doing, how to look for a good general contractor. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. So we come at them with this content calendar and then also plug in like, it's National Hug a Plumber Day. Let's make sure we do this fun post of someone hugging a plumber. Go tell somebody, if you see these plumbers out there, give them a hug today. They'll probably all love that. But, coming up with those kind of more fun things and then matching the personality of the business. So we do like to make it fun. So fun memes or, show a little personality. It doesn't have to be all serious. Like people say like, oh, but plumbing isn't a sexy business, but it could be fun. You could make it fun. There's so many, Google plumbing memes. You'll see there's there's a lot out there. So, we try to infuse a little bit of fun with what we do for them. So we come at it with that every month. We create a new calendar. That's our guide to what we're creating for them that incorporates their brand voice and them just really being helpful to their audience.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. There's so much you can post. And I think a lot of times people get like paralyzed of thinking like, I don't know what to do with this. Like you were talking about how plumbing isn't sexy. Let's talk about septic. Like we literally do shit all day long. Like
Exactly.
that's it. But it's so fun. Like make it something that is fun. And something we talked about before we hit record today was not only is your social media really great at telling people what your services are, because it's great, obviously, to get business from, but it's also really great to show how you show up in your community, what you do behind the scenes, who are the people that are working there, and also like showing up as an authority in your industry. I know in my industry, as far as septic goes, like none of my competitors, other people that do septic, they don't leverage social media at all. So if I'm hiring for a pump truck driver or maybe somebody's coming in to be an office manager, I always send them the link and say, check out our social media and learn more about us. I want to know that they come on here and they can see, oh my gosh, this is so much more than just we go out and pump septic tanks. Like they actually do stuff. They partner in the community. They have happy hours for their customers. Like they talk about different things that are going on in the community. Oh my gosh, they do education classes. Like we're so much more than just the service. And it's really hard to get all of that out to people via just a website. And that's where social media can be constantly interchanging and really showing the dynamics of who you are as people, because at the end of the day, it's home service. They can get an electrician to do the same thing from 50 different people, but why do they pick you? And that's my thought process behind social media. Is that kind of what you convey to your customers, or how do you see your customers leverage their social media for their business?
Yeah, definitely. Exactly like that. And the harder thing about putting it on your website is the website is a little bit more static. So most of them aren't doing their own websites. They have web designers. Typically there's, a little bit of like, if you want something changed, it takes a process, right? So if I have a client, we have a client who's very involved in their community and they do HVAC, electric and plumbing. And so they're at community events. They're at the Easter egg extravaganza. They're at the Halloween celebration. We're telling people, go see us. We're here. Go see us at this celebration. This is when it is. This is when we're tagging the celebration. We're tagging the sponsor of the celebration. They sponsor a local radio broadcast for our football team, the Carolina Panthers. We're talking about that. We're talking about the ways that they're involved in the community more than just, again, like go to our website and schedule an appointment, right? Like, here's our services. This is what we do. So, and it's great. And the audience loves those posts. And, they'll send us pictures from the event, and, so we can see there's their booth. This is what their booth looks like. Come see us. This is what we look like. This is what our booth looks like. Now you know us. Now it's less intimidating. Come over and say hi. So, it's really important to do that. And because you're right, social media can be so nimble that you can really make changes, decisions, day of, hour of, minute of. So more than just posting pictures of jobs that you're doing, which is great too, but posting pictures of people being out in the community, either at somebody's job site explaining what they're doing, or sponsoring something in the community, being there for people, toy drives, whatever it looks like. I think that's important because these businesses are local businesses. They're not digital. They're not online. They're local businesses. And almost all of them are involved in the community in some way. People don't always know it. So social media gives them the opportunity to let people know.
I think it's interesting why people choose to select one service company over another. Now, obviously, there's your digital branding that you're doing with getting reviews and showing up on social, and you have a really awesome website, and you look like a good business. But it's very interesting to me how many people choose, because you do work in the community. I'm going to pick this one over this other one because I can't see that with them. I never really realized how being a woman-owned business, I should be promoting the hell out of that. And I never really realized it, sadly, until like 2 years ago. And people would tell us, I Googled you and I could see that you're a woman-owned business, so I picked you over the other company. Like, price didn't even matter in this thing. And there are women that are like, I feel like she's going to take care of me versus this other dude that came out and kind of grunted at me type of situation, especially in home service stuff. So if you are a woman-owned business, like, make sure you promote that stuff. Make sure you're promoting all of your team that is part of that. I love to put like the faces of my technicians on social media so you can say, hey, Seth's coming out to your house. Priming people before they even go out there. Like, hey, this is Seth, like, even if you did like a fun behind the scenes video, like, how cool would that be that you send it out in your email that you're sending to the customer, like reminding them of the appointment. Oh, by the way, Seth is going to be your technician. Want to learn more about him? There's a little link to, your social media post that you did. There's just so many things that you can use social media content for that you can repurpose. Why don't you talk to us about what that actually means, Jackie? Because I think a lot of times people think, I got to come up with brand new stuff every day.
That freaks people out, right? That freaks people out. I feel like that's one of the barriers to doing that. People aren't doing their social media because they feel like, I can't pull all that content together, even though it's short form content. And, but I can't do a reel a day. I can't do all this stuff. And there's so much, people don't realize how much content they already have. And that's what I'd like to tell them. Like, if you think you don't have content to use already, you do. You have plenty of content to use. And look at, like, I in one of the talks I do, I take a web page of one of our former clients and go through it and say, there are 10 posts on this web page right now, and there could be 14 from one web page. So all of these, for the most part, all of these home services have these great websites with galleries, before and after pictures. They've got all their services. They have FAQs. There's so much content on this website that really you could repurpose that for days, for months, for a long time. Plus, if you're using a system where you capture all your jobs when you're at a customer site, if you give your social media manager access to that system, now they have all your before and after pictures, every single one. And so all they need to do is go start grabbing before and after pictures. They've got project descriptions. They have all the information that you're giving to your client from a project at their fingertips to use in these types of things. They can create reels out of that. If you're doing video, they can create video out of that. So there's a lot that people already have. And then top it off with, if you're already doing some kind of email marketing or newsletter, that's more content that can be pulled into social media. So you don't really have to come up with all this original content every single day of the week or every single week of the month. You really can look at what you have. And I always tell people, like, come at it from a micro level. Look at just small bite-sized chunks of what you have. So if you have this website with all your services, great. And one of your services is plumbing. But you're under that, there's also, backflow, irrigation, installation, remodels. Like that's a whole bunch of different posts that you can do that's around plumbing, but it's not just we do plumbing. So there's so much you can repurpose. And it just breaks my heart when people say, I just don't have time because I can't create all that content, because you already did.
So like having content that you can repurpose into so many different things is so incredibly important, because you're not recreating the wheel all the time. Just use the stuff you're already using at your job sites. And like I was saying before we got cut off here, we'll meld this back together. But like it's one of the things where like the most interactions I get and people leaving comments and people actually interacting it is me going out in the field, flipping the camera around and saying, hey guys, it's Tanya here. I'm going to show you what we're doing out in the field today, flipping it around and then allowing people to see what we're doing. People love that. And it takes nothing. I just do like an Instagram live when I go out there. There's no editing involved. Just hit post. It doesn't have to be perfect and pretty all the time. In fact, people want to see it real for what it is. That audience of, I got to have it perfect, is definitely not the home service industry.
No, definitely not. And the thing too about the home service industry, I found, I don't know if in your area it's the same, but in our area, they're so busy and there's a lot out there that are just not super organized. So they often they might not show up, or you feel like you don't know if they are going to show up or not. So by doing that, seeing your authenticity, it almost makes you like a real quote business. It's in people's minds. Like they trust that you're like, I've seen this person now. I know they're going to show up to my house, regardless of whether that would have happened before or not. People now, they're seeing you, or they're seeing your technician out there. They're seeing somebody with your jacket, your hat, some shirt on. And so they feel like, oh, these people are real. They actually are going to show up. It's a real business. And for better or for worse, our homeowners are, looking at generationally, right? Gen Zers are now becoming homeowners. They're saving money to buy their first homes in the next year or two. The oldest Gen Zers are 26 years old. This is a generation that has never grown up without technology. This is what they're used to. They're used to seeing, this is how they meet people. This is how they know people. So if they see that you've got some fun videos or just videos of you on a job site, turning the camera around and showing your true authentic self, or your crews out there, that means a lot to them. That's what they're used to seeing in some way, shape, or form. So it's interesting and even millennials make a lot of their decisions based on what they see on social media. So, there's a statistic like 45% of people now are making home services decisions based on something they've seen on social media. That's huge. That doesn't necessarily mean they're click a buy now button.
Wow. What was that percentage?
45%.
Wow.
Of home service provider customers make a decision based on what they see on social media. So again, it's not the hard thing about organic social media, which is what we do, versus paid. Paid, you've got all these back channels and you can really connect that to conversions. Organic, you can do it. It's just a little bit tougher. But what these people doesn't mean they're clicking a buy now button, book now, schedule now. But what they're seeing on social media is influencing the decision they're making. 45% of the people who are making those decisions are being influenced by something they see on social media. So you got to be out there.
Yes.
You have to be out there. And you have to be, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to be perfect, polished, immaculate. It has to be there.
No.
Got to be out there.
And that's what we've been talking a lot about on the podcast, is there's a different group of consumers that are coming up here that we just go by word of mouth. They don't even understand what the hell that means, because they live door to somebody and they don't even know who they live next to anymore, because they're very much in a digital world. So we've got this very interesting pool of consumers at this point of, yes, we still have the people that like, they got an email, the AOLers or something like that. That's what we always like associate. The AOL guys still want to see that you're in the Better Business Bureau and that you have a good rating, and they're going to call and tell me what a great job you did. They're not going to really leave you an online review. We've got other people, that are definitely like still a part of that, but still very much, I'm going to double check anyways, even though my neighbor gave me a referral. And then you got the people now that don't even know who the hell their neighbors are, that only go by online reviews and what they see, and now use social media as their search engines. So if you're not showing up there, how the heck are they supposed to find you? And just think about it. The generation that's coming up after them is going to be even more so like that. So we really, as home service businesses, have to change the way we think about how we do branding and marketing our services and our companies. Because what used to be, oh, they look like they know what they're doing, more people now are like, oh, badass, that's a woman-owned business, and they do stuff in the community. Oh, and look how cute her dog is. I'm going to hire her. And so I find it very interesting on how you need to show up in a very different way. But it's really cool because now we're starting to be ourselves and our business. And I think that we need to take advantage of that. We need to show up as who we are, and we need to promote our life, because even though people don't know you, they get on and look at our social media, and then we go out to jobs and they're like, oh, you're the owner. Or then they'll just start talking to me because they've been looking at our Instagram. So I think that's really cool too, that it's almost like an introduction before you even get to the property. You've like made this warm introduction unintentionally.
Yeah, it's so true. And they talk about in marketing and sales, right? You need to know, like, and trust people that then you'll do business with them. Well, social media is allowing you to really essentially, and especially for the younger generations, know them and like them. Sometimes even trust them, because now you've gotten tips and tricks, you've gotten helpful information, you've seen their dog, you've seen their kids. You feel like you really have a relationship with them. And that's huge when now they're seeing you face to face or contacting you online to schedule an appointment, they without maybe even a human interaction, because they already feel like they know, like, and trust you. And then they're going to hit that book appointment button because they have that background with you, and they may never have met you. Now, in my generation, that doesn't always happen, but the Gen Zers, a lot of the millennials, that's how they like the digital world, and they like the convenience of the digital world. And that makes it super easy to book somebody that you already, quote, know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, it's so fascinating. And there's so much to it. So if you sit down and you're going to start working with a client, what do you get them to focus on first? What's the first thing they should focus on if they're like, okay, I'm listening to this, I really need to step up my social media game? What do you think they should focus on first? What's your biggest tip around that?
Oh, so if they need to step up their social media game, so there's this kind of two-pronged approach. So you need content. So you do need content out there, because I think that even if you are posting like a couple times a week, once a week, just get some content out there so that it looks like you're active and you're doing the right things. You're giving people tips and tricks. You're being helpful, so they kind of can see, like we've been talking about, see your business, see your business. But I think on top of that, what's really important is doing the day-to-day engagement with your audience. So not just if you're starting, you might not have a lot of comments, you might not have a lot of DMs yet. But what you can do is go out and start building those relationships with other businesses that might be partner businesses with you. So if you're an HVAC, a plumbing, electric, go start liking some of the accounts of realtors, interior designers, general contractors, restoration people, anybody that might pull you into a job. Go start liking their accounts. Go start liking what they're posting on social media. Make some comments so that they know you're there. It's like, to me, it's like going to a networking event, standing in the corner. If you're just posting content, it's great and fantastic. But it'd be like showing up at the networking event and then go standing in the corner and just watching everybody do their thing. The engagement piece is when you're actually building those relationships, so that when that home and interior designer needs they're doing a new kitchen for someone and they need a plumber, they've seen your name, they've seen you comment on their kitchen designs, and they already feel like they have this relationship built with you. So to me, it's kind of two-pronged. That sounds like it takes a lot of time. That could take 15 minutes a day. That does not have to take a lot of time. That could take you 15 minutes a day just doing that piece of it. So I think that kind of two-pronged approach is super important.
Absolutely. And you're sitting there scrolling for at least 15 minutes a day anyways. You might as well make it worth your while and try to build some relationships with some people.
Yes, exactly. When people are like, I don't have time to do.
Yeah. You're like, yes, you do. Pull up your screen time. It'll tell you. The I I think one of the great things to do too is like, comment on their stuff and share it to your story. Like, let other people know that, hey, you know what? I've followed these guys for a long time. Pal's electrician. I think that they're an incredible company and I love their content. If you're looking for an electrician or you just like really funny content, check these guys out and tag them in that. Those people will become like your new business BFFs because nothing supports small business more than just referring the name out, talking about their company in a room full of opportunities. And there's no greater room full of opportunities than leveraging the followers that you have on social media to help promote other businesses. When we work with real estate agents, we always go follow them. We always thank them by sending them a DM and saying, hey, we're following you now. We really appreciate working with you. And then we ask them, or if they don't get back to us, we just go to Google and we leave them a review as a vendor stating how awesome it was to work with them if they're really great. When you extend that olive branch to people, they will shout your name when there's an opportunity for them to tell someone about your industry and about your business. So really, like, not always waiting for people to come to you, but seeking those people out and using social media as a way of doing that. Holy business card if you're consistent at posting on social media, because they're going to click on you and be like, holy shit, look at all this content these guys put on. Like, this is the real deal versus I haven't posted since 2018.
Right. I
Makes
know.
a big difference.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And that's the thing is you go out and see some of these pages and they were active maybe for a while. And then you can see the last post was 2020, 2019, 2021. I mean, it is important to have fresh content and put things out there. But yeah, and like to your point, even in your content, if you have partners you work with, always tag them, in any project that you do together, because it does help you be seen. It also helps them be seen. And, we do this, we have an outdoor lighting guy that we work with, and he works with a realtor and he does a super cool thing with them. And we post that whole thing, they do a collaboration together and we tag them and they tag, I mean, it's just building that relationship where you are working with each other in the real sense of the word, but you're also working with each other in the marketing sense of the word and helping each other out. And that way, it is so huge. And like you said, you don't want to just stand back and wait. Yes, you could be on social media. If you're not doing that, you're just sitting there hanging out. Nobody still knows that you're there, possibly. Maybe you'll come up in their feed. But if you want to make those relationships, build those relationships, make them work with those people, you have to be actively seeking them out, just like in IRL, in real life.
Yes. I love that. I love that. Think about it on so many fronts of your business. Sometimes I think we get customer centric and that's all we think about is getting new clients, getting new customers. Talk about your vendors that you work with. Like, I get all my plumbing parts at CAS, and tag them in some stuff. Like, these guys are so awesome. They deliver stuff here. If you're ever needing any plumbing supplies, like, check these guys out. Now, when I leave my cards at CAS for them to hand out to people that are asking about septic, how do you think they're probably going to feel about that? Or swinging by, talking to them, it's just, or like maybe there's a place where you would love for them to be your customer. I do this when I go to restaurants. I'll like take a selfie of like me and my kids at the ice cream store that we want to start pumping their grease trap and be like, this place is awesome. You guys got to come check it out. And I always post it through that business because then, like if they respond back and say, thanks so much for doing that. Hey, anytime you need help with that grease trap, let us know. It's a door that you've like, let me promote you. And then you can slide in a little bit and say, hey, if you ever need anything, you're not selling them. You're just letting them know you're there in case they need anything. And then that's something that they've got available to them. Even if they're like, shit, what was that company's name? They can go back to that. So there's so many ways to use social media other than just trying to sell all the time.
Right. I know. And I think sometimes it gets a bad rap because, you're scrolling through Instagram and how many products, like, how many towels, shoes, clothes, whatever the thing is that's coming up that, you get bombarded with all of this stuff. But if you think about it, like kind of change your paradigm around social media, you're thinking about it as building relationships with social media and through social media, as opposed to just, talking at people. Think of it as kind of the new median around building just a different way of building those relationships. And I think people will think about it and look at it a little bit differently. How could I use this as a tool a little bit differently than I'm just I don't like social media because they just keep saying all this stuff at me and nobody's real, and nobody's talking to each other and all that. But that's not actually true. It's just in a different way.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's like, it's out there. It's going to hang on there for a long time. So
not going away.
Why not put it out there?
It's not going away.
Yeah.
It's, getting different things every day, right? With different new platforms and all that, figuring out what that's all going to look like.
Yes.
So it is for sure here to stay. And as we were saying, the younger generations, I mean, that's going to be their go-to for a really forever. It's what they're used to. It's what they've always done now. So that's it.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Such good information, Jackie. Thank you so much for this conversation today. If somebody is looking to have someone help them out with their social media, like they're that person that's like, I don't have time to do this, but she sounds like she knows what she's talking about, so I would love to work with her. How do they find you?
Yeah, so a couple of ways. They could schedule time with me right on my website. So it's www.weassistbusiness.com. There's a Let's Chat button that they could just go right to my calendar and schedule time with me there, or send me an email is works as well. So Jackie, JACKIE .Benjamin, BENJAMIN at WeAssistBusiness.com, and they can just shoot me an email and we'll set up some time to talk there as well. So either way will work.
Excellent. And we'll link all that stuff in the show notes here. I know that you have a little freebie too that you send out to people if they want to log on to the website and they can grab that from you. What's that all about?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a top 10 list of content ideas for home services businesses. So go to the website and it's /content ideas. So they could get that there. And then I will be doing an actual webinar on the 29th of this month of November at noon Eastern time around exactly what we're talking about, building those relationships, social media. So they can also get access that from my website. So go to the website, WeAssist Business, and then /engagement. And there will be a link there. It'll be a Zoom webinar. And
you're doing that on?
Yeah, there will be time for questions and answers as well. So it'll be kind of an interactive Zoom. So if people have questions, they can feel free to bring them. We'll do some content and then have time for questions at the end as well.
Amazing. And that's on the 29th of November, correct?
Yes, correct. Yep. At 12 o'clock Eastern time.
Awesome. So when you are listening to this podcast is coming out on the 28th of November. So that's the next day. The next day is this webinar. So that's going to work out awesome. So we'll definitely help promote that too, Jackie, because I know so many people that could definitely use some help with that. So yeah. I would love to be able to do that for you. Thank you. I appreciate so much what you're doing. I also want to give you huge praise, kudos, and thanks for listening to that little voice that you said no way to, but that you created a business and that you do employ women inside of that business in order to help them be able to achieve the goals that they want to have by having really cool employment and someone awesome to work with, and teaching them skills where they can, take care of themselves and do really cool things for these service businesses. I think it is a huge thing that you should be celebrated for being fearless enough to be able to start that. So thank you for doing that. I think it's really cool. And I know that a lot of the listeners may have something like that on their heart too. Like I have a feeling, or I feel like I have this calling to work with a bunch of women or to help a bunch of women do things. I've had this myself. That's why this podcast exists. And I just love to be able to praise and promote the people that have the guts to do that. So if you're on the fence of like, I don't know, like I have little kids, I don't know about this, I don't know if I should start it, is it a good time now? You're never going to have a perfect time. Some days not a day on the calendar. Do it for your kids. Not because you have them, you shouldn't do them. It's not all or nothing. You don't have to be 100% of something. Like, we have to stop looking at our lives that way. And we really have to look at what we can do for them by being in control of our time, by owning a business and doing these cool things. So I think it's phenomenal what you have created here, Jackie. I know that you're just going to continue to grow because I know how much this service definitely is needed and requested in the home service industry. So I think you're going to do phenomenal with this.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for all the kind words. And, you know, it is true about my kids were in high school going in, getting ready to go to college when I started this business. And somebody had said to me, is this really a good time for you to start a business? I mean, you have kids going into college. Well, I could have said that at any time during raising my kids. And if you ask probably 10 business owners, 9 out of 10 of them are going to say, I wish I had done this earlier. So now if you have a thought, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You figure it out. And guess what? Your kids are watching. I mean, they're going to learn so many things from you building a business. So it can be an incredible gift to them to do that. And, you know, it doesn't matter what stage of life they're in. You know, I think it's something that anybody can do if this is what their heart is set on. So I would encourage anyone, just take that first step, see what it can look like.
Absolutely. So much more is caught than taught. And you are truly giving not only yourself permission to do that, but really you're showing them permission for them to chase that goal of entrepreneurship too, if that's something that they want to do, because they see it. And I think that's what holds back a lot of women, is that they haven't seen that modeled for them from people that they love. And so I think it's a huge service, not only if you have daughters, but also if you have sons, that they see what this woman is capable of doing. And when you put your heart and mind to something, you can figure it out.
You can. You certainly can. There's always a way.
You definitely can. Yes. So Jackie, at the end of every podcast, I love to ask everyone this question because I'm just fascinated with how people relate to the name of this podcast. So I want to ask you, what does the phrase Ladies Kickin Ass mean to you in your life?
Yeah. So when I think about that phrase, ladies kicking ass, a couple of things, you know, I think about really what it means is when I see somebody out there who is just going after what she wants, regardless of the obstacles, the naysayers, or that voice in her head that is saying, you're too young, old, inexperienced, uneducated, overeducated, whatever the thing is we're telling ourselves. And the other things that people are telling us as well. Like, it's that somebody who's just going out there and getting after what she wants, going to accomplish her goals, kind of setting aside all of the negative talk and really just getting out there and going for what she wants. And I think about the word undaunted. So when I was in, a summer camp experience at some point in my childhood, we're sitting around the campfire and telling one of those little campfire stories where everybody says a word. Like the counselor says the story and then everybody yells a word. And I don't remember what the story was about, but it was about some little animal and he was going through some trials and tribulations. And the word that we all yelled out was undaunted. And we kept on yelling that out. And I was a child, but that word has stayed with me the whole time. And really what it means is that you're not intimidated or discouraged by difficulties or obstacles in your way, and you just keep going. And to me, that's what Ladies Kickin Ass looks like.
Oh, that is what a great story, first of all. And that when you were explaining the definition of that word, it literally gave me goosebumps. So I think that's a sign. I think those goosebumps are a little whisper from somebody that we get that, that really is the definition of a lady that's kicking ass, undaunted. I love that. So completely different from anything else that we've ever heard. And that's why I love that question so much. So Jackie, thank you so much for being here with us today. I will link everything in the show notes, including the webinar that's coming up on the 29th and also the freebie that you talked about beforehand. If you're listening to this after the 29th, Jackie will have tons of stuff. She's just getting bigger and better every day. So definitely check in with her. And she's more than happy to help you out with any of your social media needs. So thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
Thanks for being part of the Ladies Kickin Ass community. Cheers to all you badass women out there. Keep rocking your power, igniting your fire, and making waves in the service industry. If you loved today's episode, please do me a quick favor. Take a screenshot, post it, and tag us at Ladies Kickin Ass. Be sure to include the link to your favorite episode. Your support in spreading the word means the world to us as we aim to empower even more women. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more kick-ass episodes. And don't forget, a 5-star review is the ultimate high five. Connect with us on social media. All the links are in the show notes. Thank you for being part of our tribe. Now go kick some serious ass, lady.